O que faz da Estônia o país com o maior número de unicórnios por pessoa do mundo? Está começando agora Papo de Mentor.
Okay.
Hi Hendrik, how are you?
Okay. I'm very good. You?
Yeah, let's start talking about our experience. So the idea here today is to have a mentor talk. It's a
Mm,
talk between mentors to share experience, to know what's going on in each country, and what we have seen that we could make it better for entrepreneurs to be more successful in their business and
mm.
particularly myself in their pitches. So tell me a little bit about your history, your how did you get there? How
Yeah. So right now I'm 37 years old. So past, I think I can say now 5.5 years ago, I discovered or startup world discovered me. Before that, I was working in different sales organizations, nothing huge or nothing successful, like just an average. I spent 1 year in India traveling and half a year in Nepal as an English teacher. And then I came back to Estonia. I worked a little bit more, and then I went to a startup hackathon. So a hackathon is in Estonia. We have a 3-day event. So I went there on Friday. Then we had like 30 ideas pitched to us. And then one of the ideas was Sorry as a Service. And I really loved that idea. I joined the team and my life changed totally because I thought I knew about something about sales or something about entrepreneurship, etc., etc. But after discovering startup world, I understand that I didn't know nothing because it changes very fast. It changes really. You never know in which direction and etc. And the company Sorry as a Service, what we did is we built a software that big companies, when they made a mistake, they can push a button and then send to the customers a handwritten note or a handwritten cookie or something handmade that showed that they really cared. And after the mistake was already fixed, and then it was like just a little bit extra, like a cherry on a cake, or I don't know what's the right reference in Brazil, like a football in a beach or something like that. That makes it more sweet. So the idea was that send the conversation in a positive note, and I did that for 3.5, close to 4 years, and a month ago we sold the company. Not like nothing serious, but at least our startup survived. So that's like the overview.
very nice. And how did you become mentor?
So with Sorry as a Service, we went to over 2 different accelerators and 2 different incubators. And in 1 year, I think I met about over 300 different mentors. And we got a lot of feedback. And then after, that's where I got my first, so to say, insights, or like who the mentors are and how useful they are. And then I started a podcast in my native tongue in Estonia about entrepreneurship. I have done now over 100 hours of talking about entrepreneurship, and having these talks with different entrepreneurs and different people in different stages. I see that I have gotten a lot of new knowledge, how they do it, how they get over the burnouts, the mental side, how they just take action, how they think it through. And thanks to that, I said that, oh, I want to start giving it back, and having my own startup experience. I feel like I have some information that I can give back to the, so to say, the new founders or entrepreneurs. And a mentorship is just one of the ways I see like I would like to contribute. So because it's so needed, but again, like becoming a mentor and being a mentor are two different things. Because when I met these 300 mentors or even more, I don't remember anymore. There are bad mentors and there are good mentors, and I feel, this is just my opinion, that the good mentors, if they haven't had the experience, then they will tell the startupper, hey, the thing that you're doing, I don't have any experience, but I can give you some ideas what you can do. It's your decision if you're going to do it or not, and not push your own ideas that say that no, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that, because you never know how the other person will take action, or what is the assumption they are trying to prove, or etc. So every person is a little bit different and they take different angles. So I feel like if a mentor or a coach is pushing their agenda, it's not their agenda anymore. And these are, like, for me, in my opinion, these are bad mentors. But just that's my opinion.
It's very interesting because you have a close story. It's like me, because I also start a change on my career during a hackathon, and it was very similar the way that you transform your career. And when I was working for one of the biggest consulting companies of the world, I participated also in a hackathon as a mentor. And here in Brazil, it's typical to have 2 days event. And in this period of time, I was supposed to stay there only for 6 hours. But then I stayed there for the whole 36 hours with the entrepreneurs, with the tech guys, with the design guys, marketing guys. And it was amazing because of the energy there. I haven't had the chance to experience such energy when I was helping big companies. This energy wasn't there. And then when I was with those guys with such energy, I was amazed, and I thought that it was fantastic, and that I wanted to leave that energy and with those people. So after that, I went to Silicon Valley to understand a little bit about the startup environment, because at that time I didn't know anything about startups, and I only knew about big companies, long-term strategies, how to make a big company become even bigger, but I wasn't familiar with what startups was thinking, what was their mindset, what they are considering doing. And then I stayed there for a period to understand the ecosystem, the values, the mindset. So it was a tremendous experience. It was a very, very good experience there. And then it changed completely. So I'm now dedicated for entrepreneurship and startups. I'm acting as an angel investor and a startup mentor, focusing on pitches. So I help startups to be positioned as one startup that will receive money, that will receive investment, that will make it possible for them to grow. And this is what I'm helping based on all experience that I have acquired during the consulting life. during my MBA, during my experience in Silicon Valley, and now having analyzed more than 70 companies, 70 pitches with entrepreneurs of more than 15 countries and 4 continents. So bringing this experience for the entrepreneurs are being very relevant for them, and the level of satisfaction that I have right now, it's completely different from what I had when I was working for big companies. So it changed. So the story is very similar.
Yeah, it's so cool, and I'm pretty sure the reason why you get excited, I don't know, it's just me again, is because you see the changes that you can make. In a big company, you don't see the changes, but in the smaller community, you can see, wow, okay, actually they tried these things and it actually works, or it didn't work. It doesn't matter, but actually they tested it.
Yeah, exactly. It makes sense.
Exactly. No, it's a really interesting story, and yeah, I think mentorship is much needed. And again, I'm just telling it, but we need good mentors. That's the thing. I also seen a lot of bad mentors, and you need to be extremely careful with the mentors you choose, because they might direct you in not the best path also. So again, like it's you're not giving opinions. I think I try not to give opinions. I give suggestions, and if these suggestions work, or if they decide to try them, I'm happy. If not, I'm also happy. At least they know my ideas, and it's their choice if they want to test it or not. And also, I think it's asking the right questions at the right time. That's really important.
Yes, I agree with you. And what would be the best mentor pick for startups? The best mentor pick for a startup would be the specialty, the characteristics, the knowledge that the mentor have, that the startup is needed or needs at that particular moment. So if you choose a mentor that are very good in finance, but you are structuring your go-to-market strategy, he would help less than if you have chosen another mentor. So I believe that choosing mentors based on their knowledge, on their expertise, is also key for them to success.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. It's again, like you need different mentors in different time, and again, it doesn't, like you can have 3-4 different mentors also. Like one is giving financial, one is giving mental assistant, one is giving sales, and one is giving I don't know, go to market strategy. It's all good. It's just you need to know who do you need the most. What's your number one? It's in a startup, it's really easy to lose the focus of what should I do now, because you have so many things you need to do. But the key is to learn how to like focus. What is the number one thing I need to do now that will help everything else? So if you're running out of money, then maybe you don't need to focus on expanding your team or getting to the market. Maybe it's like you need a new funding grant, or you need to focus on sales. Like you need to increase sales and not expand to new markets. You need to do sales in your home country, or the market where you're in, and or upsell. So like, what is the number one thing you need to make everything else work? So that's one of the things that I learned, that there's always one thing that can help the business like full on, but it's really easy to do a lot of things.
Yeah, focus is very important for a startup. If you choose the wrong direction, it could be late to go back and do it again. So the best way to approach is to work on an MVP constant phase in order to make things happen fast, to identify what could be improved faster and implement faster and adjust fast and do things fast, because the velocity of the world, of the startups, of the ideas that are bringing now, that are coming up, are very fast. So you need to follow, you need to be able to choose the right direction. So having focused on the important things that should be done and do it fast is key for startups.
Yeah, well, I think, yeah, as you mentioned, it's doing it fast and doing it with some hypothesis that you need to test it. Is it right or wrong? But as I mentioned in the previous when we were talking offline, that I think one of the key things I learned in my startup is the mental side. That you need to have the right mental, so to say, approach to your startup. It's really easy to just like, there's a big saying in US that fail fast or and then continue, but I don't agree with that right now. I think you need to fail, but you need to know why you fail. So you need to have the right mindset. If you just focus on let's start and fail, let's learn, then I don't think it's the correct. You need to fail, and then you need to discover why did you fail, what was the reason, what did we learn, what can we do differently, what can we do, what can we test, or maybe it's a wrong market that we are doing this test, or whatever the reason is. So you need to have the right mindset of let's not go crazy fast, but let's go smart. Let's just find out the reasons, and keeping the mindset healthy. That's really hard, because in the startup everything goes very fast, everything comes very fast, everything expect you move extremely fast, and then you get lost. And I think it's this world we are creating right now, especially with social media and everything, that everything happen instantly. But sometimes some things take time. They take like a month or 2 months, and some things take a little bit more time than just, okay, we tried it once one day and it didn't work. So people, like, there needs to be a balance. Some things you can test in an hour or in a day, but again, like especially in sales takes a lot of time, and you just need to keep doing it persistently and learn by doing.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. When you are implementing things fast, you need to be able to fail and learn fast, but implement what you have identified that didn't work and change this part. Because you are running a lot of tests and you are doing a lot of activities, so it's important for you to know what's working and what's not working. And when you identify that one thing is not working, then you change. That's the way that startups should go. But I'm interested in the environment on Estonia. We talk a little bit about Estonia offline, but I believe that it would make sense for us to explore a little bit more about it and to learn what's going on there.
Yeah, so I don't know who has heard about Estonia, who has not, but basically we are a small country in Europe. We have 1.2 million people. That's total. That's 1.2 million. We have our own very strange language that very few people can talk, and it's one of the hardest languages you can learn. So we have that kind of so to say, secret language. So there is 7 billion people, and only 1 million people can speak this language. So that's quite cryptic, so to say. But in terms of startup community, I think it's one of the best in Europe, if not the best. It's I'm Estonian, so I need to say it's the best. But and why I say that is because in some reports that Estonia has the most companies per people in the world, and we also have the most unicorns. That means billion-dollar companies per people. So if we compare it to US, where there are the most unicorns in numbers, but per people, Estonia wins. And we have.
What's the reason behind it?
So there are different. So this is my, so to say, interpretation or my idea. Again, it's just me. But in the end of the 1990s, so we got our freedom 1991. We were under Soviet Union, and that actually messed up our country a lot. And because we are such a small country, and then we can test a lot of things, and then our government decided to test this kind of a program called Tiger Jump. It's which meant that let's start. It was the end of the 90s. That let's start to teach second or third graders programming in the schools. So they started to produce these programmers. We didn't have a lot of jobs for them, but they were thinking about the future. And then 2004 or so, something like that, Skype, that we are making this interview, was started in Estonia. So it was one Swedish investor who had the money, but he started to working with 4 Estonian developers. And Skype had their headquarters in Estonia, so they hired the most smartest, brightest people all over the world, and they brought them to Estonia. And Skype's headquarters had, I think, over like, I don't know, I'm assuming, but I don't know the correct numbers, but I'm assuming 700 or 900 or 1,000 people working there, and I think half were Estonians. And now the Estonians who worked there, they were working together with one of the smartest people in the world outside of Estonia, brought to their company. And Skype was, so to say, the incubator of talent, as I like to say. And when Skype was sold in 2007 or 8, it was the first time, and then the second time also, the 4 Estonian founders, they got extremely rich, and they are building now new startups which will become unicorns. And but also the people who work there, the first employee of Skype is now the founder of TransferWise, what is another unicorn. It's the second most valued company in Europe in terms of startups. So, and he was the first employee. And the people who left Skype, they got a really big compensation because of the shares. There were over 100 people, and most of them also started startups or started some kind of different companies, or became mentors or advisors to this environment, and they started to create this ecosystem that we have right now. So it has been a long time coming. But now the ecosystem is extremely strong. We have, as I mentioned, TransferWise, which is the unicorn. So we have Bolt or Taxify. So that is also valued like 1.3 billion or something like that. It has the youngest CEO, founder in Europe. He's the guy who founded it. He's 23 years old, I think now. So, and he started the company when he was 18 years old. And there are other unicorns coming. There are so many startups right now in Estonia that have the potential to grow extremely big. And the Skype is one of the reasons. And the other thing is because Estonia is so small, we know that our country is not the target market. So when we build a company, we need to think how we can scale it outside Estonia. So everything we build, we start building in English or in Germany or Portuguese, that we know that Estonia is not the home market. So everything needs to be extremely fastly, so to say, changed to a different language, or we need to have the mentality. We are always growing to a new market. It doesn't always work, but most of the companies are in that mindset, especially Estonians, because again, we are so small, we need to scale. Estonia market is not a good market to sell any, like very few things. So these are the main things what I think happens in Estonia.
Yeah, and in Brazil it's different because we have a lot of people here. We have
Mm.
more than 200 million people.
Yeah,
So
that's
we have a big market. Companies or startups usually start in the local market, which is normal. But in case of Estonia, the normal is not start with the local market, it start outside of the country, which is very interesting. When we think about the mindset here, we are starting thinking globally. It's a path that we are seeking, and a lot of startups are thinking globally when they first start their planning for growth. But because we have this privilege or not to be big, we still have a mindset of beginning with the local thinking on Brazil's needs. So it's one difference that we have, which is interesting to see and compare. Another
Yeah, but
thing,
again, like sorry to interrupt you, but again, like the thing is that we also test in Estonian market. We help Estonian companies, we Estonian people, but we do it so to say that globally. I think that has been the. I think this is the mindset that I wish most of the startup founders have. Like, of course, you're going to start in Brazilian market, and of course there. But the mindset is, if this works here, we need to go globally as fast. And this is the mindset that actually is difficult to get. And I think this is something that only people from a small country or the people who know that the market is extremely full, they have, or they can give this kind of a different point of view.
yeah, totally agree. Because we begin in the Brazilian market, but we still be here for a long period of time. But it's now changing. The mindset is changing, and they are beginning thinking globally. So it's good, but it takes time. Another issue that we have here is the mentality of the future, because of we are in a generation that we have fathers and mothers that think on having a stable job, to stay in a company for the rest of their lives. So father and mother have taught their children's to think the same way, and now we are changing this mentality. We are seeing that stability is not the same as it used to be. We are changing fast and constantly. As you may know, people are saying that in 10 years, half of the jobs that we will have doesn't exist yet. So the change is very huge, and it comes fast. So the mentality is changing right now, and it is helping people to become entrepreneurs, to think on their own business, to work on their ideas. So it's a process. It's changing, and it's good to see how we are working on this issue.
Yeah, and it's amazing, and it's a work in progress. And again, like, don't get the wrong assumption that Estonia is such a high tech thing that everything works here fine. It's definitely high tech, but definitely we have our own issues. Like, most of the stuff that the ecosystem is happening in the capital in Tallinn, but outside Tallinn, we have very little of this innovation, and people have the same mindset as you guys, as the stability. And this comes from the teaching in the schools, which are, I think, everywhere the same. Like, you have the same number of grades, we have the same pretty much the learning system and etc., which is, I think, school makes average people, but people are not average. Everybody is very, very special. We just need to find what's special about them. And I think that's why, again, my point of view, that I don't think most of the schools help you find what's special about you. They are suppressing your personality, and it's also starting to change here a little bit. But again, like schools, I don't think they don't teach you the right stuff. They teach you a little bit, but not what's important. As again, like right now, the mobile phone is more powerful that a computer was like 15 years ago, and nobody is teaching them how to use a mobile phone. Like the cameras are pretty much professional cameras, but why don't people teach in schools, hey, how can you make book quality pictures with your phone? And everybody has a phone, but nobody's teaching that. So if they teach you these kinds of skills, that actually students, I think, can become entrepreneurs already in the classroom. And I don't think that everybody needs to become an entrepreneur, but everybody can be entrepreneurial. So learning these skills that they can use. But I see that the youth is also a little bit changing, but the old people, older generation, yes, I agree. Here also stability and that, which is also good, but sometimes you need to take the risks or see what happens, because you never know. And I think it's also the mindset that why do you want to have a startup, or why do you want to start it, and that is also starting to change. It's not because it's cool to have a startup, but actually we want to change the world for a better place. Like, I know it sounds cliche, but let's tackle the environment, or let's have some kind of a mission driven, or the climate is changing. Let's do something good, or let's change some stupid problem in a totally different way. And if you have that mission, I think it's so important, and I see it happening more and more. Yes. Sorry, it was a lot again.
Yes, you are totally right. It's not about money, it's about a purpose. You need to have a vision on what you want the world to be in the future, and you can be the change. You can make the difference. You can make difference. So startups, I believe, that are there for these reasons, for a purpose, to make an impact, and to transform the world where we live in a better place.
Yeah. And again, like I just want to say, I know we're talking about startups. It's not only startups, but I think entrepreneurs and again, like, and I think there's a huge power for in big corporations. They are running the world pretty much, and if they don't lead by example, it gives us the shitty world that for the future, for our children, it's they who are actually buying the companies, and depends how they're going to how can I say, use them, or will they start abusing so to say customers. So it's a fine line, but I just feel like people need to be understand, like startup is not the only way. You can be entrepreneurial any other way, and you can start there is nothing wrong to start a small business and grow that. Like, I feel I also had the pressure in our startup that we got into a Techstars accelerator, which only takes like 1% of companies, and then we have tremendous pressure that, oh, we need to become a $1 billion company, or that. It was a huge pressure, but what's wrong having a $10 million company that makes profits, gives jobs to like let's say 50 people, and has a great mission? There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. And we just people talking about startups like everybody should become a $1 billion company. No, they should not. And I really want the message that it's totally okay if it's a $1 million revenue, if it's a 10 million revenue, if it's a 500,000 revenue, it's all good. It's just if you don't do it for the money and you have mission, it will grow. But if you focus is just to have the money, then it will be a little bit more difficult. So, and that's what we also learned.
Yeah, the message behind it is that you need to make an impact in the most number of people that's possible. If you are able to do that, your company will be very valuable. If it reaches $1 billion, fine, But if it's not, also fine, because the most important thing is to make an impact and help people. So if you get to the point of being considered an unicorn, it means that you are impacting a lot of people. So as much people that you could impact, the better. And it also depends on the market, your product, and the quality of the product and service that you could provide to the clients with your structure. So the growth will also depend on it. But I believe that the first thing to think is on the impact that we are causing to other people's lives.
Definitely.
And money is a consequence. It comes. If you impact lives, money will come. So
Yep.
you need to focus on impacting lives, and then it will come afterwards. It will be
Yeah.
the result.
Yeah, but about money, because I have been in this road that we didn't have any money, and I personally, in 2 years, moved 6 times because we didn't have any income. So having this kind of a comfort living, or some kind of like a critical, like you have a basic needs covered. So I mean, like you have your apartment, you have food, and that you don't need to worry about those things. It will help it a lot. So there, I think you need some kind of basic income, like you don't when you worry about these kinds of financial struggles, then it's really hard to focus on your job. And if you worry about those, then your mindset is already in a negative, because you need to think, oh shit, how can I buy food the next week? How can I pay the rent next month? Then you're already distracted. So if possible, having like this kind of and it also might be a good thing, because some people are driven by that I need to get income because I need to pay the invoices. And some, if you can make it as a driver for you, it's really good. But if you can't, then think of a way how can you have this comfort, like the basic needs covered, so that you can focus on the impact and on what you're building, and have the mission. But I have been in a situation where I don't have any money, and it's really, really frustrating. And I was in that state for like 2-3 years, and it led me to burnout and a lot of different paths that were like are not the easiest.
Yes, I understand completely your point. And one additional point that I want to make here is that if you impact a lot of people, it doesn't mean that you doesn't need to focus on money. It doesn't mean that you will not charge for your product or service just to make an impact. It comes together, and the most impact that you can cause, the more you can charge for impacting such lives. So in terms of the results that you have, you need also to think on how are you gonna have a fair contribution to the impact that you're making to the world. So that's where the money comes. It comes with the fair contribution for you and for entrepreneurs that you are making to the world. And I'm curious about how did you overcome this period of being lack of money.
I'm still overcoming it a little bit. But what really helped me was mindfulness training. So what I started to do was I started a journal, a gratitude journal. So every morning when I woke up, I wrote 3 things I'm grateful, 3 things I want to do today, and then I summed up my day. How was my day, and how was yesterday? What good happened? And after doing that for a couple of months every morning, that really opened my eyes, because when I was worried about the financials, I was worried about other people have more money, other people have beautiful cars and relationships, and I don't have. And after gratitude, I started to realize, wow, I have two arms, two legs, a brain, eyes, and etc. Most people don't even have those things, and that I really can change the world. So the mindset that I before of that had was, I saw only problems, that I don't have money, I don't know how to sell, I don't, the company is not doing that, that we don't have that, we don't have that. I only saw problems. But after dealing with gratitude and focusing on the good things I have in my life, the second or third month, my mindset focused on how can I say problem solving attitude. So whenever I think, okay, I don't have money, then I said, okay, what can I do? Where can I find? Who can I help? What can I? If the company we didn't have customers, okay, what can I do today to get some customers? Can I send an email? Can I do a video? Can I do a blog post? What is the things that I can do? So, and I started to see, I focused on the, how can I solve these problems, and not that I can create more problems, because there are always more problems. There are always somebody better than you. There is always somebody who's more successful. There is always something like that. But we try to we forget that there is like 10 times more people who don't even have those things that you have right now. Like there is always some people who don't have arms. There are always some more people who have no legs, and etc. etc. And you have those things, and use these gifts. And when I started to realize that, then my life started to change a lot, and then things just started to happen. And the other thing also what changed, I started to change my environment. I started to surround myself with different entrepreneurs and positive mindset people. And these two changes, they take about 3 to 6 months, but they change the whole world. And these are not the easiest things to do, but they sound easy, but it still takes time.
It's great. It's great to hear that. I also practice mindfulness. It's very powerful. It helps us a lot. We were talking about education in the beginning of the conversation, and this is one topic that I miss in schools. At
Yeah.
least in Brazil, we don't have that. We
No,
don't
we also don't have.
we don't learn how to understand ourselves, which is the beginning. It's where we should start. When you know yourself, you are more able to help other people and to make an impact in the world. So what you just mentioned, it makes completely sense, because it changes the environment, it changes the results that you get. It's very important.
Mm. And this is something I recommend to all of startup founders or people. Like, start doing the gratitude, the mindfulness thing. It takes about 5 minutes every day. It doesn't take a lot of time, but it would change a lot in your life. Even if everything goes perfectly right now, and you see that everything is well, then it's easier to start right now. But most people say, "Oh, I don't need to start now. Everything is going well." But the statistics is that everything will not go well for all the time. There will be some bad things happening in your life. It's just statistics that like whatever that happens, then you're already ready with the right mindset, that you don't go into this panic mode. Oh shit, I don't know, this happened and this happened. What do we do now? And we are losing this and we are losing that. No, it's like you're already in the mindfulness place. You can start. Okay, this happened. Okay, but what can I do about it? It's not like what should we do or that. No, then you start asking yourself better questions inside your head already. Okay, this happened. Okay,
Yeah.
I will take 2 days off, and what can I do now, or where can I focus now to make the biggest impact, or who do I need to ask for help, or etc. etc. So there's much better questions to ask. And the question I asked before the gratitude was, why am I not good enough, or why I cannot do that? And if you ask these questions from yourself, you will get really shitty answers. That if you ask yourself why I'm not good enough, then you start, oh, because you are this and you don't know that, and then you don't know that. How does these answers help you? They don't. They make you more miserable. But if you ask yourself, what can I do today to be better than yesterday. And then I said, oh, I will talk to this guy, or I will have lunch with that guy, or I will call my mom and say, hey, you're a fantastic mom, or you can do these things. They make you feel better, and they make the other person also feel better, and you already have a better day than you had yesterday.
Yeah, it's totally correlated with auto-responsibility. You need to take the responsibility for you to understand that your environment surround you is just what you allow it to be. So you need to take responsibility and change instead of complain, instead of saying, oh, my life is bad, oh, I can't do anything about it. No, you can do. You can do, and you have to do. And it's all your responsibility. You can change. You can make it happen. You can make impact in other people. And you can transform your environment in a better place.
Yeah, I totally agree. And again, like it's the mindset thing. It all starts with the questions. If you're already telling yourself, oh, I cannot do these things, then you are right. You cannot, because you already, the question is that, oh, I cannot do these things.
Exactly.
And you're already telling yourself that I can. Or I also hear people that, oh, I have nothing positive in my life. Then I ask, do you have a bed where you sleep? Yes, I have a bed. Okay, then you have something positive. Or even if they don't have that, they go, do you have arms and legs? Yes, I have. Okay, so you have something positive. I think that the thing is with the gratitude also, now I've been mentoring with the gratitude and doing those coaching lessons also with those. It's again like people overthink that, oh, I will write a diary about gratitude. Oh, I need to write only really special and really big things that happens, and they only happen once a year or something like that. Then I would write it. No, it's all the small things we already have in our life that are important. Like I have a bed, I have a home, I have a house, or I have a partner, or I have hands, or whatever the small things are in your life. Be grateful for those things, because one day they might be gone, and then you start, oh, I wish I had that left arm that I lost in whatever accident. Then you start missing them. But I broke up with my partner, and then after you broke up, then you start, oh, she or he was such a good partner. But no, but why didn't you appreciate when they were next to you? So this is so important, that you need to have, like, be grateful what you have right now. And then the funny thing is, more things start to come into your life, because then you take, so to say, the blinders off, and life is starting to offer you more and more things. I know this sounds really like a voodoo stuff, or something like really like preaching to a god, but actually this is how life works. And it's so funny, because like 3 or 4 years ago, if somebody would have tell me these things, I would have said go away, or I would have listened to you. But now I have been using these techniques, and stuff is happening, and I think that's the same way as, again, like meeting you, or you contact, that we started to talk again. Like, this is something that I take it I'm grateful for this. This is a huge opportunity. And again, I'm grateful for this kind of a thing, because it's normally this don't happen. Yeah. And again, small things.
That's true. That's true. Completely true.
Yeah.
And talking about, going back to talk about startups and your way to the exit, where you could sell your company. Tell me about your pitch. How was it? Where did you find inspiration? What were the bases that you used in order to build it? How was the execution of the pitch? If you were able to get the investment in the first meeting that you have, how was the experience?
Yeah, so our company, we were so lucky, because our CEO was a Norwegian Irish man, Martin, and because he was part Irish, he had the gift of a gab, that we say, that he was really well spoken, and he was really well, so to say, articulated. And as I mentioned also in the letter, that I actually don't like the word pitch anymore. I like storytelling, because I think all the things you need to tell your story. So what Martin also got right, he put emotions into we called it also pitch then. Now I call it story. That we started the story with an emotional bond that everybody made mistakes, or everybody, and then we were talking about how they fixed the mistake by giving a box of candies and etc. So that made an emotional impact. And right now also, we didn't get investments in the beginning. We actually didn't get any investments from investors, because we got into accelerators and we got into an incubator where we got the necessary funds to grow our team. So but we got into Techstars, which again was really, really difficult, because there were over 1,200 companies who applied, and they only took 10, and we were one of the 10. So, and it was London 2015. So we were very, very lucky, but we hustled a lot, and the problem and the issue was with our company. Everybody loved what we are doing. Everybody said this is one of the best ideas, but the problem that we didn't do is we were, so to say, a vitamin. We didn't say that we are the aspirin for your headache, but we are just nice to have company. So this is something we didn't execute as well as we should have, to show companies that we are actually the solution that they cannot live without, but we stayed just a nice to have product. So, but right now when I see you need to tell your story so that people understand, and people, so to say, they say, okay, this is some, like I have a headache and I need to fix with your solution this, and please take my money now, so to say. And I have seen so many pictures of startups and different in different countries, that most of them have the same format. They start, hey, I'm this founder, this is the solution, this is the market, this is the business model, this is how we make money, this is the competitors, and they have like the 7-8 steps the same way. And I already see that the investors or people who are listening to them, they go tired. They were 10-15 seconds, they can tell who they are. But if I see a company who tells their story from emotions, from their personal growth, they have experienced this, and they don't have this formal structure, but even if they tell half the things that I mentioned before, if they have the idea, the market, and maybe the business model, but the story is very compelling, I can 100% guarantee that after the event, or after the pitch, the investors will ask all the necessary questions if they are interested in this. So I still cannot emphasize the story is what matters, because with the stories also, you're not only telling the story to your investors, you also can tell the story for your customers, for your partners, for your employees. They all have the same story. You just change the structure a little bit, and then everybody is part of that story, and you need to push on that story, because it is, and if you can put emotions on it, that's like crazy good. Yeah, now I finished.
Yes, and I have seen exactly what you're mentioning. I'm seeing a lot of pitches conducted by blocks. So we have a block that we are gonna talk about the market. We have a block that we are gonna talk about the business model. We have a block that we are gonna talk about the problem. And it's not good for being compelling, exactly what you mentioned. It's not emotional. They don't bring story to the context of the presentation, which makes less impact than what they could have. And the human decisions are made on our emotional side. So if you don't touch emotional side of the investor brain, if you only use rational slides, rational context, it will be hard for you to make a difference on the investor mind, because I myself as an investor, I look at a lot of pitches per month. So the ones that I would pick to invest is the one that touch me more, and I believe that would make sense. So before any decision, it needs to have touched me. If it touches me, then I will use my rational side to emphasize the decision and to understand better in more detail. But you need to be emotional. And the majority of the pitches that I have seen, and the majority of the entrepreneurs that I have mentored, they are not using those strategies. They are using a pitch by blocks, which is not good for the flow of the presentation, and they are very rational. They are not bringing emotion to it.
Yeah, and I have also seen like the blocks, and I feel it's good to have structure, but I think they are going too much. But again, like for us, we had our very good CEO who was extremely good at this pitching. I'm an Estonian who is extremely bad at that pitching. But what helped me was again a lot of practice, a lot, and I mean a lot. Like I didn't practice as crazily as my other friends in a different company. They actually practiced like the pitch like for a month every day. They pitched for like 10 or 20 times the same thing, the same differently. Then they asked for feedback. Then actually very good the strategy for startups who want to practice their pitch when we were in the accelerator was that because you meet so many mentors and investors there, so you get all the contacts. And what she did, my friend in a different company, she emailed to those investors and say, hey, can I have a 20-minute call with you? I would like to practice my pitch and get your feedback. So there was two aspects for it, two things that happened with her. She got really good feedback from investors, and she strengthened the relationship, because what we also understood that it's investors are also, so to say, the mentors, and they always like you see from me, we always like to talk. And if somebody asks your advice, you say, okay, I give you my advice, and 10 or 15 or 20 minutes, that's not a very long time to actually help that company. And sometimes you never know, you might invest in that if the pitch is very good. And I think that was a really, really smart way to do that. But practice, and I know a lot of tech people and a lot of people, they are not, it's really strange to be on stage, and it's a very scary place. And the only way you get over it is, again, what I mentioned before, is gratitude, like being thankful. And the other thing is you train and you train and you train, and you become better at it, like with everything. If you learn a new language, you don't pick it up in one day. You need to train it. The same with children. When they are born, they don't know how to walk. They only crawl, but it takes them some time before they start walking, and then it takes time when they start running. Everything takes time. Everything doesn't have to happen the first time. That's really, really important, because I think, again, this is like we mentioned in the beginning, that everything needs to go fast, like fail fast. And this is one thing, the practice, like performing on stage takes a lot of time, because very few people are natural on stage. But I know people who are extremely introverted, they don't like other people, but they have trained so much that they are natural on stage, and that's hard work.
Yeah, totally agree. When in my mentoring program that I offer for entrepreneurs, I do exactly this. I help them to prepare an emotional pitch. I go through each slide. So in order to be able to do that, I would invest a lot of time with each slide and the transitions of the slides to make it flow better, to make the flow better. And the exercise that I propose to them, I'm providing a spoiler here, but it's exactly what you just mentioned. You need to practice. So pick other people and practice with them also. At the beginning of each session, they practice with me, but as an exercise, an extra exercise, I ask them to pick other people in order to make their pitches for other people as well, to receive feedback and to make them more comfortable. Because with the practice, one of the biggest or highest of fears of human beings are presenting to other people.
Yep.
More than death. So as much as you practice, as the better you become and more comfortable and secure. So it's very, very important.
I totally agree. And again, like it takes time for me. Actually, now I love being on stage because I started a podcast, and the podcast has helped me so much, and I can talk a lot, and because when I'm talking in the podcast, it just cleared like all the filters that I have with the performance issues. But it took me about 8 to 9 months to be even comfortable listening to my own voice, because when you're listening to your voice, you always thought, oh, this is so ugly and this doesn't work, and the same is with the video and etc.
Yeah,
but it takes time. You need to it takes just time, and because it's not natural for us. And the same is with the stage, right? It's same. It's not natural to be on stage, because we start to think what other people think, and oh, what if I make a mistake? So what if you make a mistake? Nobody cares. Just continue. And the people who, when you make a mistake, the person who is thinking about it the most is you, because maybe most of the people don't even realize you made a mistake if it's not a very huge one. But again, like they will forgive you much faster than you forgive yourself. And then you start dwelling on it. Oh, I made a mistake, and then you cannot move on. But actually, and that's why you need training, because if you make a mistake, you just continue. You don't stop it, you don't do it, you just continue like nothing happened. And this is how you clear the line. But it's so hard. It's theory is very easy, but it becomes when you have practiced your pitch at least like 500 times, and you have performed, for example, to your mother even like 50 times or something like that, then you have this kind of confidence. And the good thing about this, when you learn your own pitch, you can pretty much learn any pitch and go into the stage and have nothing to fear about. Yeah. So it will help you in the future also so much.
Yes, it also helps in being more assertive in defining the correct information to present to other stakeholders. So you could present to clients, partners, or other stakeholders, and when you practice your pitch, you'll be able to tell a good story, to identify and define which information is important to present, and be more secure when making your pitch, which is very important. So it helps in other area of your startup that you're gonna need to work on too.
Yeah, and also it helps you to become a better communicator in your team.
Yeah.
Because in your team you also need to, like if you have a 5 people team or 10 people team, you also need to perform in front of them, and if you already practiced your pitch and etc., you are more like you said, I like the word assertive, and you are more confident, and you can more clearly say what you are expecting of them, and what we need to do. And if you practice your pitch and getting feedback that this doesn't work and this doesn't work, and then you are changing your story and changing your pitch, you're getting much better in it, and you know what works and doesn't work. So it makes you a better team member also. So I think especially in the founding team, if you are a technical founder or business founder, whatever, everybody needs to pitch. Everybody needs to be the person who can be. For example, if the person who is going on stage got sick and cannot go, then the second founder or the second person who is sitting, they need to be pretty much the same level as the first person, because it's so important, especially in the beginning.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. and sometimes it's the only chance that you're gonna have, the only time slot available for you to make your pitch. So it's very important for them to substitute the main communicator or the person that would be presenting. It's all about preparation and risk mitigation, and also development of the team members, because when they are able to talk about the company, they will be able to talk about the company for everybody.
Exactly.
Very, very good. Indrik, we are coming close to the end of this mentor talk. So what I would like to ask you to do, and what we could end up with, is a last sentence with a piece of a small advice for entrepreneurs that are listening to us.
So advice about what?
About anything that you believe it's important for them.
Yeah, as you see, I cannot give short answers, but one sentence. But I truly believe that we talked about the mindset, and I think that is the key of everything. Your brain is your power. So whatever you think, you can make it true. If you think you cannot, you are right. If you think you can, you are also right, like Henry Ford said. So train your mindset as you train your body. If you go running once a day, try to do some mental exercises to your brain. Also do the gratitude to mental meditation, or go walk without a phone or without electronics, alone in a forest if possible. Just take time for yourself and think through what are you going to do today, or even better, you do it in the previous day, that what's the plan for next day, to just plan ahead and take this time for yourself to keep yourself your mind also, so to say, evolving constantly. And if you're doing a startup, I really recommend to have a hobby or something that is not connected to your startup. It's very easy to work 12 hours, 14 hours a day, especially in the beginning, because of your passion for 3 to 6 months or 6 to 9 months, but you burn out really fast. Then it's really good if you work like 8 hours and then for 2 hours you do cooking, or you do kite surfing, or you do whatever the thing you do that keeps your mind out of the startup. Because if you're in a startup, you're just focusing on that, and then you don't see some really obvious things, and then you miss them. So having this kind of a balance is so important. So these are like few things.
Very, very good piece of advice. What I would say is to try to learn and understand what other people have done that makes them reach the success that you want, and try to model what they think, what they have done, and what was the mistakes that he or she have committed for you to not commit, to not make. So it's a way of learning fast, of identify points important that will bring you to the success, and also to avoid making mistakes that other people have already done. So try to learn about history of other successful people, try to listen to advices of mentors, try to talk with people that has the experience on one particular area that you're focusing right now. So this is the advice that I want to finish this section with, for the entrepreneurs to be able to get successful, to be successful faster.
Great advice.
Indrik, so thank you very much for this talk. It was very good. I believe that people will like it a lot.
Thank you. No, it was really, really good, and I really hope it brought some value to people, and that they can get some practical tips that they can start using it.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, that's really. But yeah, Augusta, thank you for the time and thank you for connecting with me. That's really cool.
Thank you, and good luck with your projects in Estonia.
Thank you, and you too. And if you have any other ideas or how we can cooperate or what we can do, I don't know, online mentorship for your startup programs. Who knows what can. Again, Brazil is a country I have not visited yet, and would be interesting to do something online if there's possibility, and then who knows what can come from it. So all of those things, more than happy.
Great. The same for you. The same, I can do it for you.
Yeah.
I can learn more about Estonia as well. The country that, I didn't know that, but it's the country that has more unicorn per people in the whole world. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, we have 4 unicorns. So we have had, so Skype was one. Then we have Playtech, that is a gaming company. And now, but these are already, Skype is sold and Playtech is also, so to say, sold or different. And now we have TransferWise and Bolt. And there are like at least 2 or 3 who are coming, I think, in the next couple of years. And the crazy part is that what's going to happen, Estonia and ecosystem is going to be huge in the 5 to 10 years. Because again, if TransferWise gets sold or Bolt gets sold or they both do IPOs, a lot of people will leave those companies, Estonians, the first employees, and they will start a new company. And they are also right now working with the world talented, because I was talking with one person who works in TransferWise. Left to his workstation works a person who has worked with Elon Musk in Tesla for like 5 or 6 years, and on the other side is pretty much a guy who worked like 2 years with Jeff Bezos on Amazon. So they are like extremely smart people they hired, and they are bringing the talent here. So that TransferWise has about 1,000 people in Estonia, and Bolt has another 1,000, close to 1,000. And they are all being taught by the world's best and smartest people. And when those companies IPO, there will be another huge boom of startups, and I'm 100% sure there will be at least 2 or 3 or even 4 unicorns from those companies. I'm 100% sure of that, because it happened with Skype, it will happen with them, and the cycle will continue, and there will be always new startups, there will always new problems to solve, there's always new things, and it's going to be massive here. That's my prediction right now. So it's definitely a place to keep an eye on, and it's really easy to become a really big part of the ecosystem if you come here, because Estonia, it's so small that in 1 week you can meet pretty much the Estonian president if you know the right people. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It's just so crazy, because it is so small. If you know the right people, if you talk the right things, if you're willing to help, if you do this, it's actually, I know a few people who have a direct line with the president of Estonia, or like the head of IT of Estonia or something like that. And everybody is so connected here, and most of the people are also willing to help others. So that's the beauty of the Estonian. But again, the other way, it's so small, and the investments are here very small. Estonian investments it's really hard to get like a €500,000 from Estonian investors. It's really difficult. And most of Estonian companies, they need to show revenue before they start investing. So that's like not in US where you seed round is already $1 million or 1.5. Here, the seed round is pretty much you need to have a customer, you need to have some kind of revenue, and then we're going to do a seed round. But there are also others who actually, if you have a really strong founders team, especially from Skype or from other big companies, and they say we want to do this, then also you can get like a 800 or $1 million or 1.5 if you have already a proven team. So these are the small things that happen. So if you're interested in those things, I'm more than happy to tell you or show you or whatever the ideas you have.
Great. Let's be in touch and let's continue this talk, because I believe that would make sense for us to be closer and more connected. Am I
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, definitely. As again, Brazil is a huge opportunity, and again, like I don't know how's the environment there, but again, like if they take these kinds of like me, like a foreign mentors or foreign coaches and etc., like how open do they are, or what's the possibilities there? So me branching out to Brazil also, making it a market, and I'm right now building LinkedIn agency in Estonia because LinkedIn is very small in Estonia and people don't know it. Most of the companies don't even use it, which is huge market for me. And I want to also expand and I want to mentor and I want to do these things. So whatever, like again, Brazil is such a huge market for me, which sounds like a fascinating. And also the people there are so nice and women are very beautiful as we have also in Estonia. So, which again, a lot of nice bonuses.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So let's keep talking then.
Yeah, let's do that, and let me know if you need any other ideas or if you looking for investments or if you have some pitch decks or whatever, like how can I help and etc. So just send it and see how we can work.
Great, great. Definitely we can work together. So it was
Cool.
a pleasure to have you here with us and talk to you soon.
Yeah, yeah. Let's keep in touch. Okay.
Bye bye,
Bye.
Hendrik.
Bye.
E finalizamos assim o Papo de Mentor de hoje com Indrik, um mentor da Estônia. E você teve a oportunidade de conhecer um pouquinho mais sobre o ecossistema de lá, dicas preciosíssimas do campo de batalha, tanto minha quanto dele. E espero que você tenha gostado e curtido. Fique ligado, até a próxima!